All right, we are live right here on the MetsXMFanZone live podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our live streams. Today we got a lot of ground to cover here on our live streams. We're going to be giving you a couple of updated Mets news for you guys. We are going to take some Q&As here on this live stream. We're going to keep you informed on some latest Mets updates. We are also here on the stream. We are going to be showing you guys a little bit of our platform as we continue to go on to the stream. So if you guys are popping on in, you have to stay tuned to the end of our live stream so that way you can get all that information. So we want to say hello to everybody and welcome. My name is Anthony. I am a 16-year veteran for MajorLeagueBaseball.com. I was a journalist, writer, and producer on the MLB side of things. Been doing that for a very, very long time, and worked with a lot of the Mets content as well. So here on the stream is going to be we're going to give you guys a lot of intrusive information, give you a lot of information in regards to Mets. So we're going to do that for the next 25 minutes. Questions, you can put them in the comment section down below, but also just to keep everybody informed. Today's game, we got the New York Mets versus the Miami Marlins. That game is going to go live at 6:10 tonight. So if you are looking to catch a stream or if you're looking to catch a feed of tonight's game, we'll be live on our website by going to MetsXMFanZone.com. You can sign up for a free membership. You'll be able to get all of free spring training games live on our website, but however, it is on the SNY live stream. So if you want to go and check it out on SNY, obviously you can do that. But why do that? If you could go to MetsXMFanZone.com, we give you 24/7 full access of Met games throughout the whole 2026 season. And plus, we give you great benefits of that. But if you would like to learn and get any information on that, you could go to our links in our bio. So we are going to go ahead and obviously the lineup card is not out yet. They will be announcing the lineup card at 4:10. So around 4:10, around 4:20 is when we'll get the lineup card. I'm going to give you guys my predictions and tips on how to get all of that too. The lineup cards are always on our website. So if you want to get the lineup cards, they're on there. The Mets, Yankees, little brother. Right now, I think yesterday's game was very interesting, because I'm not going to go and make a big determination of what yesterday's game really kind of, implemented, in my opinion. I think with yesterday, the game, I mean, yes, was everybody pretty much in that lineup yesterday? Absolutely. The only thing I feel with the Mets and Yankees, I think the Yankees got a lot of working. Same thing kind of goes with the Mets. I think the only two key aspects that I'm looking at for the Yankees is to get their pitching in order. And they really don't have good pitching. I think the Yankees do have some good hitting. They just need to learn to get their pitching involved a little bit more. And I mean, they took in that pitcher out yesterday. They ended up putting him back. They took him out, put a new guy in and then put him back in. And it just, obviously he was getting all banged up. It didn't look good for the Yankees in that aspect. But, they need to learn to get the right pieces. And I don't know what to say in regards to on how they really looked at that matchup. I think the matchup through and through yesterday was not good. And they need to start relying on their talent. And they don't got pitching. They just don't have the right pitching involved. And I do think that the Mets have better pitching. You know, saw it yesterday with Freddie Peralta. You know, I think Freddie Peralta really showed 3 solid innings. First inning, he ended the game getting a strikeout. Didn't look so bad there. The second inning, you know, he was able to have 2 to 3 strikeouts. I think his work was a little bit better. You know, I think his pitch selection seemed to, you know, kind of worked a little bit for him. He didn't really jump the gun on a lot of those fastballs, and kind of looking on what I saw, kind of go with the fastball selection. And I like at 120, at 150. You know, he's starting to kind of get a little bit of a feel on the mound. I think he's starting to look to change some adjustment there. I think the timing and the way he's positioning on different pitches, he's kind of working on a little bit on his slider a little bit more, and he has been working a little bit more on his cutter. So he does have some really good, you know, pitch selections that I feel that he can also still develop. But, you know, overall, just getting his work in is really what he's capable of doing. So getting that work, getting the timing, and just getting on the mounds and just getting, you know, a little bit more repetitions. I mean, he did pitch 47 pitches yesterday. He went 3 innings plus. Taking him out in the 4th inning was fine. He was starting to get a little bit of some hits there. Gave up a couple of runs. But, I mean, overall, in his performance of yesterday, I'm going to grade him at a C+. I'm not going to give him an B or an A. But, I mean, just to get his work in is really on what I was capable of seeing out of Peralta. And right now, he is just getting some of that work in. And that's all that really matters to me. Just getting your work in, getting the, you know, the proper pitching, you know, getting a little bit better on the mound. Those are the key things that I need to see out of Peralta, you know, during his first start. But obviously right now it's spring training, so I'm not even going to go and worry about that at this moment in time. So I do feel that, you know, again, Peralta, just getting the work in, getting the repetitions, getting, you know, what he's supposed to be doing. And I think that's a smart move. Now, let's go and see if I could just pull up here up on my screen yesterday's lineup card. See if I could just pull up yesterday's lineup card. And just so everybody knows, all the data that I talk about in this live stream is on our website. So I have a lot of the data that I write on a lot of the players that I've been talking about on this stream is on there. So let's give you yesterday's card. So yesterday they had Simeon leading off. They had Polanco at second, which was playing first base. Bobachet, they had Alvarez, they had Brett Beatty, Tyrone Taylor, they had Carson Benj, they had Broha, and AJ Ewan. And that's what the lineup card looked yesterday. Now, kind of getting a little bit of a feel on what, you know, they were capable of doing in yesterday's matchup was 3 players that really stuck out for me. Jorge Polanco, Brett Beatty, AJ Ewan. 3 players that I feel that are going to be a big difference maker in 2026. And why do I say that? It's because your young talent is kind of what makes a big deal. And I feel that with Broha, with AJ Ewan, Brett Beatty, maybe even Jorge Polanco, which I know he's a little bit more on that veteran style. But obviously they need to develop a first base guy. Could very well see a lot of that in Brett Beatty. Could see a lot of that in Jarrett Young. You got Taldman, You got a lot of players that are being very much involved this year. And these are the guys that I feel that are going to really stand out for the Mets, because you need a lot of young talent being put in work too, because then you could bring up guys that you know that are capable of getting you hits, guys that could be able to play the field, and guys that could be able to give you projection. That's what you need. And you need to be able to get numbers out of these guys. Jorge Polanco, I mean, having to see a good fielder is definitely that big difference maker. Not only a good fielder, but also a very good clutch hitter. And that's kind of what the Mets need right now, is clutch hitting. And you're going to see that out of Polanco. And of course, you'll be able to see that out of Brett Beatty. You'll be able to see that out of A.J. Ewing. And I think that with A.J. Ewing, I think, is a very good younger talent, and which I'll get into in just a second. But you want to be able to have good versatility, be able to have a good, set of guys that could give you defense and also really good offense. So, what are we looking at when it comes to the fielding prospects? Is Polanco always worried about Tyrone Taylor? I think Tyrone Taylor is going to be a very good outfielder. Maybe even get some better at bats in 2026, which we are seeing that a little bit early on so far in spring. So, what are other guys that we're going to look at being involved in spring? Is also Alvarez, because Alvarez is not really talked enough, I feel, in the catching role, because I feel if you're looking at Terrence and if you're looking at Alvarez, Alvarez could definitely be that difference maker. And you really need somebody that could, be behind the plate, learn on how to call a better game, and also learn it with a bunch of other veterans. And I think that Alvarez is perfect for veterans, and I think Terrence would be perfect for the younger talent. So you're able to see that yin and yang comparison, seeing with Terrence, seeing with Alvarez, Terrence with the younger talent, and Alvarez a little bit more of that veteran style, because he could call a better game with the veterans than I feel than he can with the younger talent. Because you kind of have to, you're kind of looking at it as who is going to be able to call a better game, but also who could play good defensive and good offense. And I'm looking at Alvarez a little bit more on the offense side of things. And I'm going to look at Terrence a little bit more on the defense side of things. So it's really good to have that different comparison between the two. And one is, there's not like one that's better than the other. It's the flip side of a card. If you're looking at it that way, you got good offense, good defense. So, and obviously I'll put up the numbers, once the season starts, because you'll get to be able to get that comparison, especially once people start, going into the whole money type of feel, you'll have that complete, confidence when you're going to the betting side of things. So, again, kind of looking on the catching role, you'll be able to see the comparison and contrast. All right, so let's go with on the younger talent, and guys that are really looking to step up and show some big progress here. A.J. Ewing, Broha, and Brett Beatty. And I know Brett Beatty's been here for quite a while, but I mean, you're starting to see a little bit on giving him some confidence. And that's kind of like really what I want to talk about here for a second, is these players to get enough confidence and enough projection to move forward in the 2026 season, and kind of what I'm seeing in regards to his versatility wise, and kind of looking at, where he is and the process on where he is at this moment in time is getting the ability to have really good at bats. And I think that you're starting to see that more and more. And you're also starting to see some fielding ability there for first base. Not to say that it could be an alternative to Jorge Polanco, but I need a guy that could, be a little bit better at the fielding position. And I do think that Brett Beatty could very well be that alternative to Jorge Polanco. What are the kind of the projection numbers that I'm really seeing so far in spring is 5 different key features, and that's one with his OPS and getting that OPS up. Last year, he wasn't able to really do that enough. I mean, 18 home runs is good, but it's not enough to get the extra hits, get the extra runs that you need to see out of Brett Beatty. Brett Beatty is a very good talent, but getting those numbers up is what he needs to do. And also fielding projection. He has to be able to have some good fielding. And I think he's a little bit better in regards to Mark Vientos wise because, you're seeing a little bit of him getting better each and every year. And moving forward is what we need out of Brett Beatty. So definitely giving him some confidence in this lineup is what you're going to see out of him, and more than likely going to make the team. I don't know about Mark Vientos making the team right now, but I think everybody's kind of a little bit giving some hope on Brett Beatty, not so much on Vientos, and I think Vientos might be the odd man out in this one. So, I mean, even though he is in the World Baseball Classic, we still need to give, you know, some time on Vientos. And I know they still have hope in him. And I just, hopefully, he can really, really start to get it. And he's talking to a lot of players at the World Baseball Classic right now. So if he could work and get something, working there, that would be great. So let's also touch a little bit on AJ Ewan. Now, a lot of good things coming out of this guy. And, I have to say he really took my attention so far this spring training is runs, getting hits, being clutch, kind of go in the opposite field direction because you can see that a little bit. You can see him pulling to the left side of the plate. And during his minor league, he had some really good odds into that, opposite field. And kind of go a little bit on the 657 on the OPS scale, kind of giving you a little bit of a bigger ERA. And right now, his ERA is at 3.52 with 20 home runs, 68 RBIs. So he was able to put up some really good numbers in the minors. Could he continue to keep doing that through the 2026 season? Is definitely a really good beneficial to the Mets lineup. Now, are the Mets going to bring him up or give him some sort of opportunity this year? I don't think it's off the cards for Carlos Mendoza, but I mean, I really do feel that this team, putting him into that opportunity, I definitely think that he would ride with AJ Ewan if they wanted to put like a DH spot for him. I do think that he has a really good bat, and he could field. He could really field. He looks like Pete Alonso. I'm like, yo, this guy looks like Pete Alonso as an outfielder. So, I mean, I definitely think that AJ Ewan could very well, be a superstar in the making. We're already seeing that right now, and he's really impressing me by far. We got to see Carson Bench on what he's capable of doing. Carson Bench is looking really good at right field, even though he is going to be playing left, even though he will be playing center at times, from what Carlos Mendoza might said. He could be playing at center, could play left field at times. He might play all over the outfield, but I think with Carson Bench, the Mets are going to give him the go. It's just a matter of who's going to be that backup, who's going to, be behind him on this one. Could be Taubman. I also think it could very well be AJ Ewan. If they given him an opportunity and a go ahead to, see on the capabilities of where he would be. I think right now that the Mets are really just giving the opportunity to Carson Bench, because I don't think the Mets really will like to go and make some big moves at this time. So more than likely you're going to see him as your right fielder starter. So let's kind of touch up a little bit on the center fielder situation, and that's with Luis Roberts Jr. You haven't seen him much. I know a lot of people haven't seen him much on TV as of recently. He was more than likely going to be in the outfield today. Kind of go a little bit on some back history on Roberts. 3 years ago, he had a very good season. Kind of went with the batting title. He had well over 35 home runs, over the 65 RBI ratio, had a really good high ERA, batting at 340, and also had a really nice OPS at 892. And kind of what are we seeing out of Roberts in 2026 is a guy that could have a bounce back season from the 2 seasons ago. He was with the White Sox. The Mets really decided to give him the opportunity to shine. He didn't have a really good season last year. Didn't really have a good season the year before that. Could he very well now have the opportunity to play with this team and, kind of show his talent? And so far, we're seeing it in spring that he's capable of doing the job. Now it's a matter of, is he going to go full boat with it? Is he going to have a better season than he did last year and the year before? But we all know of the caliber of a star he is. So could he very well have a good season? Absolutely. How is he defensively? I would definitely rank him at number 10 defensive guy in the league. He has different attributes, I think, in my opinion. He has a lot of different things that I feel that makes him special for this team, because he can put you up some numbers. He can give you home runs. He is a good speedster, so I kind of would like to see a little bit more speed around the base pads, but a guy that we know that could do the job around the base pads. Bunting at times, RBIs at times, because that's what the Mets lacked in last year. The Mets lacked in, clutch hitting, and he could definitely well be that guy that could go with the opposite field direction. He has a really good percentage at 58 to 65% going from the opposite fields, and could definitely well give you power from the right side of the plate. So I definitely see that Roberts could be a very good fit here. And from what I've seen so far in the offseason, he's looking like he's able to get that opportunity. And, him playing in center field, he has a good glove, has a decent bat. Let's see what he could do. And I really do feel that giving him the opportunity and the go to make a really good center field. And the Mets got if you really think about it, the Mets got the best 3 outfielders in all of baseball, I feel, in my honest opinion. So if they could put up numbers and they could get a little bit more speed in their repertoire, I do feel they are a threat in that lineup card. So let's touch up also a little bit on the pitching, and then we'll take some of your questions. Now, pitching, Freddie Peralta. You got Freddie Peralta, David Peterson, Nolan McLean, Kodai Senga, Clay Holmes. Who's really going to be that breakout star this year? I'm going to go with Kodai Senga, Sean Manaea. And why am I going to include these two gentlemen? One, Sean Manaea is a very good, capable pitcher. I feel that he could bring the heat. We're starting to see him climb up the scale on that pitch clock. He has been pitching at least 97, 98. The one thing that the Mets do have is speed right in the top of the order. So having Freddie Peralta pitched really good of a gem yesterday, 3+ innings. That's really good that I've seen, but we all know that he'll be much, much better once the season starts, just getting a little bit of his work. But Sean Manaea, getting his fastball and feeling confident at the plate is what he needs. And I do feel that if he could have his confidence level up, kind of go with the fastball again, a little bit of the cutter, because he does throw a nice cutter. His cutter clocks at like around 88 to 94 at times. Could very well give you some good pitch selections around the right side of the mound, because he could not only he could have some good strikeout ratios, which last year he punched out at least 120 guys, which of course is a good number, but I mean, you kind of want to see a little bit more in his repertoire this year. So if he could be able to put up some good numbers, he could be a guy that I want to see bounce back in this Mets rotation. So, yeah, he was going 4 or 5 innings, but we know that he's capable of going much deeper into the game. Giving him the opportunity to do so, I really do feel that the key benefactor of Sean Manaea could very well give me at least 14 wins. So if he could give 14 wins, I really do. That could be a good, successful season out of him. So let's see on what he could do. And I really do feel that he could have a good bounce back year. Now, let's talk on Sean Manaea. Let's talk on Kodai Senga for a second. So what are we going to see out of Senga? The ghost pitch, the ghost pitch, the ghost pitch. Everybody knows the fork. Everybody kind of has that, that ability to throw those. But who could throw them better is Kodai Senga. Saw a lot of speed the other day. Clocking at 98, clocking at 99. There were times where he clocked it at 100. Speed is the name of the game right now. Obviously, of course, a guy like Kodai Senga could punch out many guys in that lineup, in all these lineups. If he could do that and continue to keep throwing the ghost pitch and feeling confident at that pitch and stop thinking so much in that head of his, I really do feel that he could be the best pitcher in this lineup. Next to Nolan McLean and next to Freddie Peralta. He could be your number 3 guy if he could just get out of his head a little bit. Because you saw it at times. You saw it at times the other day when they played against the St. Louis Cardinals, that he was throwing a ghost pitch, and then you saw him talking to himself. Like, can't do that. Tyler McGill did that. He can't do that. He needs to calm down a little bit. He needs to go a little bit more on the confident level, because if you're not confident on the mound, your whole game is shot. And you're seeing that him being a little bit more confident. The last start was a little confident. Did it a little bit, but then went back into the true form that he did, was getting those strikeouts. Big key strikeouts, big key moments out of Senga could definitely be the progression that we need out of him. So kind of I know we kind of rely a little bit on the fork pitch, but he has to be able to not tip, because at times he was, showing his pitches, and you can't be tipping your pitches, and he did that last year. So get a little bit better, sneaking it, not letting people see, what you're throwing, at times. And I did that too. So, I think what they need to, which we're seeing a lot of out of our pitching coaching, is working on him and just kind of get a little bit more repetition. And he's been doing that. He's been in the PP. He's been working out in there, and he's been doing simulated games against other batters on the Mets. So I mean, we're starting to see a little bit of projection coming out of Senga. And the one key thing that I am going to be looking for in the remaining of spring training is just get a little bit. I will go a little bit faster in this game. He needs to go a little bit faster. I think he kind of just because he's up there thinking and then throwing. No, he needs to go up there, look at the pitch, look at who's calling the game. Terrence needs to call his games. I don't like when Alvarez calls his games. I don't feel that Alvarez is helping him much. When Terrence is behind the plate, I feel that he works a little bit better. Not with Alvarez. And again, like I said before, Alvarez is very good when it comes to the veteran pitching. When it comes to young pitching, he doesn't know on how to fix it. And that's kind of the one thing that I feel that Alvarez lacks in kind of working with the younger pitching. Shouldn't be working with younger pitching. Should be working with the veterans. So at times, I would like to see Kodai Senga kind of be matched a little bit with Terrence. And I know Terrence will have that, that day and then an off day. And then, of course, at times you're gonna plug in Alvarez as a DH spot. So, I mean, I really do feel, kind of working a little bit with Senga and kind of working a little bit with Nolan McLean is not what Alvarez needs to do. I think it should be with Terrence, kind of. And I think, in my opinion, from what I've seen and what I've analyzed throughout the 25 season, is that Nolan McLean had way better games with Terrence than he did with Alvarez. So, I do feel there is a big difference and a big difference game behind the two of these catchers. So, I definitely see a lot of really good benefits out of the catching situation this year. And of course, the Mets still got a Hayden Singer, and he could be good too. So I mean, the Mets got good catching behind there. So I do see some really good benefits coming out of that in 26. So if you guys loved everything that you heard in today's live stream, make sure that you guys share, like, and subscribe, because everything that we talk about on our streams is on the website. We give you a little bit of some data on there, kind of, breaking down the pitch selections, kind of breaking down the lefties, the righties. If you guys would like to get some analysis on your betting parlays, definitely give you guys some help on that. You guys could go into our Anthony's predictions, and I give you guys some key parlays, player parlays. That's pretty much what I select for on the bet apps. We would like to thank our partners with FanDuel, DraftKings, and BetMGM. We are now official with those platforms. We'll give promos throughout the regular season. If you don't bet, I do suggest it, obviously, of course. But if you guys are big time bettors, of course, it's there for everybody, kind of give you guys a little bit of a breakdown throughout the regular season, with players and projections and stuff like that, because people that watch the shows are bettors. So, I mean, give you guys a little bit of my predictions throughout the regular season, give you guys a little bit of the lineup cards, obviously, of course, and give you guys numbers and projections and what the season will look like for players in the 2026 season. But of course, if you guys enjoy it, make sure that you guys share, like, and subscribe. We want to thank you guys for watching here on our show. If you guys would like to come back tomorrow at 8:30 a.m., where we'll break down all your Mets top stories. We'll answer all your Q&As. If you guys would like to put in your questions, you could go into our website by going to MetsXMFanZone.com. You could go into the community tab and you could write your questions in there and we could get them answered live on air. So if you become a member on our community, we will definitely answer your questions on our live stream at 8:30. So if you guys would like to check that out, it's in our show notes. And also, we do go live post game, pre game, and we also do that throughout the regular season. So if you guys would like to check all that out, the links are in the bio. I want to thank you guys for watching. Be safe, be well, and let's go Mets.